finished painting was black, green, and wood brown. The wood brown from Warlord or Army Painter. I painted on here. I got the wood brown for the rifle and then the black green for the gas mask canister, and I also used khaki on the tarp, the rucksack, and the magazine pouches. Alright, now the next color we're going to use is called Stone Gray, and I'm primarily painting that on these stones that are laying next to this log here. Okay, let that sit for a second. Alright, now on one thing I'm going to paint German camouflage orange ochre. Is going to go on the little ammo can, little machine gun ammo can that's right here on top of this crate. Probably an ammo can for an MG42 or something. Actually, it doesn't look like that because it's top loaded. So I'm not sure. Okay, so we got the camouflage orange ochre on there. That kind of really stands out quite a bit. Yeah, we're going to set that off to the side and let that dry. Alright, now we're going to go with the Zeltbahn Camo Brown. I'm going to use that as actually like the dirt that's piled onto the pieces. That is going to be exposed dirt color. So we're going to paint that right here. Now you notice it's a lot different. I don't know if you can see that light. It's different than the wood. If you painted it the same color, there would be no contrast. Okay, now just as I'm painting this, you can understand that I'm going to put some grass foliage on this, some camo, or not camo, some flock, right? I'm going to flock it with some grass. But then in other areas, I'm going to leave the dirt exposed. And then in other areas, I'm going to apply a little bit of snow for the Ardennes. Okay. And this doesn't all have to be the same color. It can be multi-toned. Really, it's just dirt, and dirt is multiple colors. Alright, so let me get this dirt painted on, and then we'll take a look at it. Alright, so we got the dirt on the front and the top. We even got the dirt on the inside, on the ramp going in, and that's what we're going to do with the dirt. Now let's go ahead and hit all of these, and then I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, and one of the final colors is natural steel. What we're going to do is, I've already painted some licorice on my corrugated bar that was right here, and what I'm doing is I'm just brushing this on lightly, kind of like a wet brush, and letting it stick to a raised area. And then what's happening is it's probably going to stick to black before it sticks to anything else, because first of all, the black is also the raised areas. Leaving a little bit of the black and also a little bit of the brown showing, because, you know, rust and all that. Okay, we're just going to leave that little piece right there, kind of like that. All right, and then the last piece, the rifle, it has some metallic parts as well, so we make sure we touch up the barrel and sight, and then we also make sure we get the receiver and upper sight, and then the trigger assembly. Alright, and when that dries, you'll see it looks really good. Now, okay, as you can see, the brown still hasn't dried yet. So before I start doing any flocking or anything like that, we're going to let that brown dry, and then we'll be back. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm going to keep my eyes on it, and once it's dry, we'll be back. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to start flocking the base. Now, this is kind of a multi-step process. I'm going to put some glue in my palette right there. I used Elmer's school glue. I use a synthetic brush, you know, to paint the bases. We're going to go ahead and paint on this one. In some cases, we're going to paint the entire base, and in other times, we're only going to paint a portion of the base. So let's go ahead and just paint away on this one. This is on this model. I'm going to paint the entire base. Using the white of the Elmers as a guide to see if I've got the entire base covered or not. You want it all to be wet. Okay, I think I got a good amount. And then we take our ballast that I use as like an earth tone. It's pretty much the same color that I painted the flat earth. And it basically just gives the base a little bit of a texture. Now I've got a box ready. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the box. Now, alternatively, we've got some of these donuts. Now on the donuts, we're going to paint, but only along certain areas. Areas that I want the extra texture. Well, on this one, it's pretty much going to be the entire thing. Just be careful not to get it on this model on the sides of the donut. or in an area that would prevent your model from standing inside the donut hole. So basically just be careful, that's all I'm asking. And if it's not 100% coverage, it's okay, because remember, you painted earth tones all around. And this rocky ballast is not the final step, so don't worry. This is just to give it some extra texture. Woo, and again, I don't shake anything off. I let it sit on the glue so that it soaks in. So I'm going to sit it down in my box. Again, one more. Here, let's do a little more complicated one. Like this guy. So the gravel on this goes all the way to the table. Okay, so be sure to get it around the bottom. The lower edge is the most important. Okay, I've gone all the way around. Now we're going to reach up a little bit. As you can see, this dirt is packed inside the cover. To help protect, strengthen the cover for the soldier. All right, so what you got here is you got gravel that's on the sides and tops. So you got to kind of angle your model so that the gravel sticks to the glue. And then you got to kind of angle it the other direction. Not everything is going to stick where you think it should stick, but that's okay. You don't want it to be perfect. Okay, now before I shake it off, I'm going to set it down in my box. All right, now that I've already shaken off the gravel, looking at the model like this, you could very easily just use it like this with the gravel. I'm just not content with that. I want to have a little bit of grass and then maybe even some snow on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some battlefield grass, green, basically green grass, battlefield green grass, from Army Painter. And we're going to use that. Now I'm going to put some Elmer's glue back in my palette. And just like miniature figures, I do about 2/3 grass over the dirt, but you just have to be strategic about it. Like, how do I want to do it? On these logs, obviously it would be done on the bottom, right? We're going to put some, oh, you can't see this. Let's see. If I moved over a little bit, would you be able to see it? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some Elmer's glue on top of the gravel I had just placed, but I'm going to leave gaps. I'm not going to give it 100% coating. I'm only going to give about 2/3. So basically I just put some grass, leave a gap, put some more on. Remember, everywhere I put this Elmer's is where the grass is going to grow. Leave a spot, add some Elmer's. You want it to be thick enough that it's white and that it grips into the ballast that you've already placed, the brown texturing, and turns white so that it looks like what am I trying to say? So that your grass flock will soak into the glue, and you just sprinkle it on. Now, something you have to be conscious of is when you apply your Elmer's on top of your already textured base, the liquid in your Elmer's might loosen the Elmer's underneath, because Elmer's never really dries. When it dries, if it gets wet again, there is a chance it will loosen up. Okay, so we're just going to leave it like that. Even though it looks like it's 100% covered, when I let the glue dry and I shake it off, it's going to, what's not on the Elmer's will come off. Okay, so now on the long walls like this, yeah, we definitely want to put some grass on the outside where the sandbags are, but on the inside we're going to want to put less, because that is where the trench would be, if that makes sense. So I'm only going to put it's going to be considerably less. Put some on the end there, put some right there, put some right there. But on the other side, I'm going to continue on with that 2/3 idea. Alright, so we sprinkle it. Okay, we'll let that set and dry before I shake it off. Now on these donuts, we don't do the grass all the way up because that would be actually just dirt piled on up there. And again, on the inside, we do very little grass, basically just a hint of grass on the inside. I'm just doing a spot there and a spot there. Maybe a spot right there too. But on the outside, we only do grass on a lower portion of it. Kind of like that. So you see a spot of grass right there. Spot of grass right on the inside. In the corner. And that's randomized. You can do it however you want. And then all along the bottom, about 2/3 of the bottom. Remember, not 100%. So you get a little bit of grass along the outer edge like that, but not all the way up. All right, we're going to set that down. You know what? Probably do that. All right, let me do the rest of these, and then I'll be right back. All right, so we got the green has dried. Now what? The green. Now we're going to be adding snow to this. And yeah, I mean, you could play like this just fine, but when you want to have any kind of snow on your miniature, you really need to prime the area that you're gonna put the snow with some white, because snow is like a very subtle or very weak flock. So when you put it on, whatever's underneath will shine through, will stick through. So if you put snow on top of green, you're going to get kind of like a green snow. If you want your snow to be white, then you have to put some white paint underneath it. Now what I'm doing is I'm kind of touching up the base, but I also want snow to be up the side, like here. I want it to be like up here as well. We're going to put snow along the top, up there. And it doesn't have to be a complete 100% coating either, because you're basically just helping the snow flock. You're not replacing it. You're not painting instead of the snow flock. You're just getting the area prepared so that it can have some snow added to it. Now we're going to, this is a good one right here. I've already done a few of these over here. You can't see, but let's go ahead and pull this one up. Like I've already done that one. I've done this one, added a little spots of white up here because I'm going to add snow to the top of that. The one with all the boxes, I've added some white in various places. All right, so let me add the white to all these and then we'll be right back. All right, so now we're going to apply some flock, right? I'm going to use white glue, of course, like always. Put some white glue in a palette. Use my synthetic brush that I always use for applying white glue. And now what we're going to do is we're going to apply white glue in the exact same spots that we had already applied the white paint. Now it's okay and recommended that the white glue goes on a little bit more than what you got the white glue, kind of like using the white glue as just as a guide, really. Okay, go around the model, applying this glue. You want it to be thick because you want your snow to soak into the glue. Now I have considered putting white paint inside my PVA glue so that I can do 2 steps at one time. But resist that urge. Don't do that. Because once the PVA glue has white paint in it, then it will ruin the flock when you apply it to the base. You want clear glue. Okay, now I'm also going to put it on these 2 spots on the top. And again, I'm going to put more glue than what I have paint. That way there's a little over gluing, if you get what I'm saying. Okay. Perfect. Now I put this on top of a box so that when I sprinkle my snow, it'll all go into the box. Or any amount of snow that I might miss the model with. Okay, so everywhere that I applied glue, I have snow. I'm going to set that down inside this box. Let's do another piece. Go ahead and do this piece. You notice I did not shake the snow off of the model. This would be kind of the same technique that you would do on a figure as well. Finish the base like you normally would, then go back with some white paint. Touch up some spots that you want to apply glue to so that you can get some snow. Okay, I've got Elmer's glue on every white spot except for this little corner here. And I did some on this little ledge right here where maybe some snow had gathered. Okay. And then we let that sit to dry. I should say to allow the snow to soak into the glue. I can see where it's wet right here. That means I didn't get any or enough snow on that glue so it could soak in. Alright, and that's basically the technique. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and apply snow to all of these. When it's dry, I'm going to shake them all off, and then we'll come back and take a look and see exactly how these things look once they're finished. All right, so now we got them all flocked, the glue and the flock, and I've got them sitting here drying. So once this dries, then I'm going to shake all the snow off, and we'll see what we get, and we'll get a close-up. All right, now as promised, we're going to go ahead and shake these off. I also use a very soft, big, giant 1-inch bristle brush to clean off any dust or dirt, or in this case, snow. Let's go ahead and take this one right here, and let's flip it over. What I usually do is tap it. I do this on my figures as well. I tap the bottom very softly, gently, just enough to give it a little bit of a shake. See, I've already got some stuff on my fingers. All right, and we got that. Look, now I put a little Elmer's along the top of this log here to give a little bit of a snow on the top. But you can see how thin that comes out, where these come out nice and white. Okay. Put that down. Let's take this one right here. Turn it over. Knock it off. Whoops. There we go. All right, and then we get that look right there. All right, we're going to get this all knocked off, and then we'll do some close-ups so you can see what it looks like. All right, let's take a look at the fuel dump here. It's pretty much only one color, so this was pretty easy to do. Okay, so that's the fuel dump. Let's take a look here, like one of our trench walls. Looks pretty good. The other trench wall. another kind of hasty wall. Could be added as part of the trench. A log wall. It's part of a trench network. A lot of dirt on one side, you know. And then there's a couple of positions as part of that trench network. Looks pretty good, this one and this one. Alright, then we got the, looks like just a position out in the woods. Looks really good. We got that lumberjack position where he's got the wood and he's cutting it up into firewood on a chopping block right there. And then there's some pieces in a barrel. And then this is a position next to a tree stump. Part of that tree's laying down. Looks pretty good. And then this is like a little supply area where there are boxes and crates. A rifle. Some gear. Yep. And then the two big ones. You got the log pile with the snow and the tarp. That looks really good. That's probably one of my favorite ones. And this one with the bark that was stripped off. Some bark stripped off on the back. You can actually see where the axes had cut the wood. Right there. Yeah, that one looks good too. Yep, that's the terrain. All right, and that is the terrain for 148 Tactic. Now, you get 4 pieces with each starter set, and I went ahead and ordered a few extra pieces. You usually get two of these and a couple of walls. If I remember right. Wait, hold on, let me see what I've got. I've got this, and maybe this, and maybe this. Maybe that, and then this and that, and probably those two. If my memory serves me right, I think you get these and these as part of a starter set, and then these two and these two as part of the other starter set. I ordered these pieces separately as well as this one. Okay, well, that was the terrain. Now the next videos you're going to see is probably the Kuba wagon, but also not only the Kuba wagon, but we're going to start working on doing a rules review and checking out the different, what the cards mean and what do the dice mean, what do the tokens mean, and how do we play this game, and that's coming up next. We're going to do a 148 Tactic boot camp, and then after that, some of my friends and I are going to play. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one.